Ozzy, I've torn you away from the bar to have a few words. You've been rather busy lately, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just started recording my new album. It's been produced by a guy called Ron Neverson, and we start pre-production on Monday, and I think we're going to spend about 3 or 4 months recording it, and then it should be out.
Now, you're coming back with a new band and all sorts?
Yeah, I've got a new bass player, new drummer, Phil Suzanne on bass, I've got Lisa Ford's old drummer on drums, Randy Casillo, and Jake, of course, is still with me.
In September of 1985 and March of 1986, Ozzy was interviewed on Music Box, which some of you will remember was the European counterpart to MTV. Some great stuff has survived from Music Box over the years. If you would like to know more about Ozzy footage, check out Ozology on Amazon.com. So, without further ado, let's roll.
It's basically a 4-piece again now.
So you've tidied things up a bit, is that what you're trying to do?
Sure, I got kind of bored with the old band, you know. It was time for them. So Tommy Aldridge joined Rudy Sarzo, and they're getting a band together in California. And it's all go, you know. It's just.
Now you'll carry on after years and years and years in the business, and there are lots and lots of bands who come up behind you, young heavy metal bands. I mean, how do you view the younger bands?
I think some of them, it's like anything, some of them are good and some of them will stay around, but some of them, a lot of them, I suppose, will just fall by the wayside, as it always has happened, you know. It's, I mean, I like some of the bands. Funnily enough, I was listening to a band called Raven the other day from Newcastle. It's a pretty good band, you know.
Yeah. Do you think you've got anything to learn from the young heavy metal bands?
Just the fact that it keeps me on my toes. And the very fact that the young bands are still carrying my form of music on, it makes me feel good that it ain't dead, you know. It makes me feel that, you know, it's still a market.
Does it make you feel like an innovator then?
Sure, yeah? Sure.
Now, you've been working, well, a long time now since you worked with Jeff Lynne.
I've never worked with Jeff Lynne.
I thought you worked with Jeff Lynne on So Tight. I beg your pardon.
No, it was his string arranger did the arrangement.
Ah, that's what. I knew there was some connection between them. I mean, you're likely to be doing that sort of thing again.
No, and it's just the new album's just straight hard rock, you know.
Back to basics.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
All right, take care.
Thanks for your time. 2.5 years to get that together now.
It didn't actually take us that long because it's been 2 years since the last album, which was Bark at the Moon, but I was touring with that album for a good 12 months. But it's taken to actually get the band and the album together around 12 months, just about 12 months.
Doesn't that make you stale touring for so long with the same material?
No, not really, because I mean I've been going too long to be stale. I mean, if I was going to get stale, I'd have been stale many years ago. I decided this time to think what I was doing more and get people, like for instance I had a producer on this album where I'd never had one before. And that was a kind of a gamble, and that was a kind of a very difficult thing for me to come to terms with somebody else, putting my baby in someone else's hands, you know, and it was kind of weird for a while. Plus the fact I was replacing 2 band members, so Jake and I were continuously writing as we were looking along the wayside, you know. But we eventually got it together, and I think the proof's in the pudding. It's the biggest and fastest selling album I've ever had since I've left Sabbath.
You've actually taken some flack for it from the press for being perhaps a bit sort of, not quite your angry former self, a little lax of bit of American rock.
I think that's the producer. I mean, when you get a producer, you have to rely on him to do what he does best. And I mean, he's an American producer, so it's bound to sound kind of American, I suppose. But that wasn't my intention. I mean, when you get a producer, you just say, here's the songs, produce me a record. And sometimes you don't always agree with the way it's coming off at you, but you've got to accept it because that's what the deal's all about, you know. You sign a contract with a producer and that's it, you know.
You must be happy with the success of the album. How about the album itself? You say that it wasn't quite what you had in mind.
The only thing I wished, I think it is true to say, it is a bit sort of lighter than I have done before. But I mean, I don't really mind because it's a different kind of an album, it's a different direction, and it does get kind of boring playing the same version of a formula, which I have been playing for 18 years, you know.
I heard some story about you've been queuing with fans or something at gigs to try and suss out their opinions. I don't know if this is true.
No, not really.
I mean, how do you control the press? I mean, there are all kinds of stories spread about it.
I did a Radio 4 interview about 2 weeks ago, and I sat there, and when the guy was announcing it, he says, yes, We have the legendary wild man of rock and roll, Ozzy Osbourne, who's allegedly bit the heads off a bat and sawed the legs off a Doberman Pinscher. Where the hell did this come from, you know? I mean, I have to phone these guys. I have to find out what I was supposed to have done last week, you know? I mean, I can't control it. I suppose it's sensationalism. They like a sensational story. I mean,
You do give them a head start, though, don't you?
oh, sure, I set the seed. It's part of me.
Is it all your fault, then?
I suppose it's a bit of fun, you know. It's a bit of unknown. You know? It's just a bit of fun, that's all.
You run into a bit of controversy for the LP sleeve. Something to do with a visible panty line in the States.
Yes, originally the woman had a bare bottom of it was bare, you know. I wouldn't have that. And also there were three crucifixes on the mountain range behind this fiery hell, wherever it was. And I wouldn't have that. And I said, well, why don't you just put a blank album, leave it out and be done with it, because everything I come up with, somebody doesn't like it, you know. But it gets me, you know, movies today have far more visual and realistic type of things happening than any record. I don't know what they all keep picking on rock and roll for.
You've run into a spot of bother. You've been sued by the father of John McCollum, 19-year-old lad who apparently committed suicide after listening to one of your albums. So as the story goes.
That's an absolute load of poppycock, because how do they know that he listened to this specific song? And even though they're obviously a bit dim, because the song what they're referring to is about alcoholism, suicide solution, meaning suicide liquid, like drinking alcohol. And if they were to read the actual words all the way through instead of trying to read between the lines, thinking that I put these invisible messages in songs, they'd just realise it's just a simple song which I wrote, Bob Daisy and I, with Randy Rose, wrote about Bon Scott, who drank himself to it. And Bon Scott, incidentally, was the former singer.
What? No producer. Max Norman. Hello. Does his name ring a bell? Hello? As you can see, this last clip is incomplete. I have looked all over for a complete tape of the complete interview, but I cannot find it anywhere. Now, does it exist? Probably. Who owns all the music box, backstock? Who knows? But I'm sure it's got to be somewhere. And to be fair, getting a new band was bigger than, well, I was tired of the old band, but it's a more complex story. If you would like to know more, I suggest you pick up Bob Daisley's book. No, he does not pay me to say that. It's just a great book that you, yes, you, should read. Remember to pick up your copy of Ozzy on Amazon, eBay, and other retailers. If you like Ozzy videos, check out my channel. I have quite a few up already, but there are more coming in the future. Now, what do I have? Well, you, yes, you have to stay tuned to find out. So like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we will see you later.